All right, so for our final session, and it's been good working with you, we are going to do what I like to call, and what it actually is called, is the miracle question. I'm going to frame something to you, and then you're going to respond to it, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, suppose when we're finished here, you go home and you go to sleep, and you wake up the next day, and every problem you have is gone. Every problem.
That wouldn't wake up at home, that's for sure.
But just think about it. Every problem you have is gone. And it happened while you were asleep. So that means you had nothing to do with it, okay? So think about that for a second, okay? And let me know when that kind of hits you, and then we're going to follow up, okay?
All the problems are gone.
All your problems in the world are gone.
That's interesting.
Okay? And again, you had nothing to do with it because you were asleep. So the question would be, how would you know that the miracle happened? Because you had nothing to do with it. How would you know that the miracle happened? No?
I guess you wouldn't know unless you think about it.
Unless you think about it.
Yeah. What's the problem though?
You tell me.
What's the problem?
So what would that look like? So all the problems in your life are gone. How would you know those problems are gone? What would that look like?
I don't really know. That would be really weird. I don't really know how to think that far ahead because it's not possible.
Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit. What's one problem you have currently?
That's just the finances. That's the
Finances.
I guess. I don't know.
How would you know that miracle happened to get rid of your financial problems? What would that be? How would that look?
I wouldn't know that until I wanted to go pay a bill or something. Or when I go
Okay,
reach
so
for something. Oh wow, I have $100 in my wallet.
okay, so you would know that you wouldn't have to worry about bills. What else?
I guess you would have to think about whatever the problem. Okay, let's say there's no problems, but it doesn't mean that you wouldn't think about those problems. So you have to still think about those problems, and then I didn't have such and such yesterday, or I had a difficult problem yesterday at work. Something happened, and you go to try to fix it, and then it's not there. Then you would know something is up. But to be 100% for sure that all the problems is gone, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay. So how would your best friend know that this miracle has happened? What would that look like from an outside perspective?
I guess my attitude would be different.
Your attitude would be different? How would it be?
I mean, if you don't have no problems, you wouldn't be upset or frustrated. And overall, you'd be more so of a happy person.
Okay.
Well, I would be more so a happy person, I guess we should say.
You would be a happier person without the problems. Okay. And when those problems are gone, when they're disappeared, when they're done, and you woke up and it's happy, what does happy Michelle A look like as opposed to problem having Michelle A? How does she act?
Excited, happy, energetic. I don't know. I guess that's. When I'm having a good day, that would be how I usually feel.
Okay, so you're saying without problems.
Happy-go-lucky.
Without problems, you'd be happy, excited, energetic. So to follow that up, if without problems, life is at 10, right? Currently, life is what? 0 to 10. 10 being without problems. Currently, life is 0 to 10. Where are you at?
4.
You're at a 4. That's really low. Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, for me, if a problem would be attended, be like a death or something like
No,
that.
no, no,
That's
no.
tragic.
So I want to make sure we got it straight. The miracle happens, life is a 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Currently, because the miracle hasn't happened, your life is a 0 being the worst, 10 being the miracle happened, everything's great. Where are you at? No. Okay.
I'm so glad for it. So 10 is the best.
10 is the best.
Well, I would guess I'll go up to maybe like a 6.
A 6. Okay. And what problems, you said financial, what else is creating that 6 and not closer to a 7, 8, 9?
Overthinking.
Overthinking?
Probably. That's all it boils down to.
Okay. And the overthinking causes what?
Stress.
Stress?
And the overthinking is a problem itself.
Mm-hmm. So it causes stress with you. What else?
That's pretty much the biggest thing.
The biggest thing. So the biggest thing for you right now is the stress that comes from the overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you doing anything in regards to the stress?
Trying to fix what I can fix. Anything that's within my power to fix. And if something I can't fix, then just gotta let it ride. Not
Okay, so what?
changing things I have the ability to change and not worry about other things I can't.
Right. So it sounds like you have acceptance on some things.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So what I'm gonna say to that is acceptance of our problems can be considered a first step sometimes, because once we're able to accept that that is something we can deal with or can't deal with, then we know how to handle it. And has you, that's a terrible question. Has it worked for you, accepting the problems?
Yes.
How so?
Because that makes you narrow down the things that you can work on, that you can fix, that you can deal, versus the things that you're just worrying about that you know right at that moment you can't fix.
Okay. What's one thing that you feel as though you can't fix right now?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. What was the very first thing you realized that you had a handle on, that you had control over?
Being unhappy. Like, okay, I'll use my job for a second.
Okay.
Exactly. Being unhappy at the job.
Being unhappy at the job?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you realized that you had control of it, let's actually take a step back. Before you realized you had control over it and you were unhappy at your job, what was that doing in regards to your stress level?
Making me angry and making me just having to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you were angry and you had to deal with it, did it affect you at work or no? How did it affect?
Yes.
How so?
I felt like I'm stuck. Like I'm more worried about making them happy, the company happy, the people who already have their money and their life set, versus making myself happy and getting where I need to be.
Okay. And then you had a rationalization that you had control over that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? Like what was the thought process there once you realized that you had that?
Like, I don't have to be here. Let me look for other places to be.
Mm-hmm. And you did that, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
And once you started doing that, did you automatically become happier or?
Slowly.
Slowly. Okay. Until what?
Until I reach my goal.
Okay. I think they're both singing. So, the purpose of that numerical question is to identify what is holding us back
Go ahead and get down.
from trying to get to the miracle place. And I want you to think about that question critically when I'm not here. And I want you to be as open with yourself as possible. Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes I think you're a little guarded. And I think it might be because of the camera and answering some stuff. And that's okay. That's okay because it's an extra person basically with the camera, right? So think about what would that look like. He's looking at me intently, like he's really listening.
He might be pooping.
What would what would that look like, and how can I get there? Okay, and we'll follow, and I'm gonna follow up from our previous session, and I want to tell you to use pen and paper, and write some of that stuff out. Because again, as we stated from the previous session, when we write stuff out or if we draw it, sometimes it becomes more real for us as opposed to just saying it. Okay. So this is again our final session, and I would like to know, what did you think about this experience?
It was quite interesting. It made me really sit back and think about a lot of things that I haven't really thought about, like who was my support system and why I did my support system and why do I depend on them and what can I do to make relationships stronger, those kind of things that I've never really thought about. I kind of just pushed to the side and dealt with instead of digging deeper.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that you think I should work on?
I don't think so.
Okay. And so I just said it a while ago. I would tell you, and I would tell anybody this, the support systems we talked about before, make sure you have that in place. And if you don't have that in place, there's nothing wrong with going and find a therapist who doesn't use a camera and have discussions when you feel like there's stuff you need to process out, because it's always important to find someone that you can process with, right? All right. I thank you very much, and I can see by the baby's face it's time for me to end this. And I appreciate it very much, okay?
No problem.
All right, thank you.